Hi, welcome to the regular meeting of Brisbane Planning Commission, Thursday, September 8th, 2016, 7:30 p.m., Brisbane City Hall, 50 Park Place, Brisbane. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson.
Present.
Commissioner Reinhardt.
Here.
Commissioner Munir.
I just can't.
And Chair Doe.
Present.
And note for the record that Commissioner Parker is out this evening.
May I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
I move to adopt the regular meeting agenda of Thursday, September 8th, 2016.
Great. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So the consent calendar. Please note that items listed here as consent calendar items are considered routine and will be acted upon collectively by one motion adopting the Planning Department's recommendation unless a member of the public, the commission, or staff asks to remove an item to discuss it. Prior to the motion, the chairperson will ask if anyone wishes to remove an item from the consent calendar.
No?
Seeing none. I did have one item for the August 25th, 2016 minutes. It's on D.1.I.7, and it's the fourth paragraph from the bottom up. I think we can strike she, no?
Strike what?
She, the word she, because it has already chairperson. It doesn't have to have she, too. Okay, so that was my only.
Yeah, mine had, there was a reputation just to mark it.
Okay.
Has to do with, there was a minor typo, grammatical error in mine.
It's your mic on.
My mic is not on, okay. I'm trying to find what that was. Actually, it just said twice, Commissioner Munir recommended and geotechnical. I should have marked it. I didn't.
Maybe you said it twice. It's possible.
Maybe I did. Knowing me, right?
We could do a search for that offline and correct it.
Okay.
Okay, I find it, I'll let you know. It's a minor thing.
So with those amendments, can we move to approve or to adopt the consent calendar?
I make a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On to oral communications. Does anyone in the audience wish to address the commission on an issue not on the agenda? Only one. Okay, thank you. So we're moving on to written communications. I see nothing before me. Does anyone have anything? No? Okay. So, new business. Public hearing, 5,000 Sierra Point Parkway, sign review SR-7-16. Sign review to allow a new 7 square feet directional parking sign to be installed within the parking lot of the Doubletree Hotel. Preeti Sethi, SJP Signs Incorporated is the applicant. Summit Hospitality 114 LLC is the owner, APN 007-163-030. Staff report, please.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Chair and Commission.
Good evening.
The request before you tonight is for sign review approval for a new 7 square foot non-illuminated directional parking sign in the parking lot of the Doubletree Hotel at 5,000 Sierra Point Parkway. This asymmetrical blade sign would measure 4 feet at its tallest and 2 feet at its widest points. The proposed materials include a brown aluminum base, green aluminum reveal, and brown aluminum facing with white vinyl graphics to direct visitors to the hotel lobby and hotel restaurant. Typically, interior directional signage is not subject to sign review. This application is before you tonight because there is a sign program for the Sierra Point sub-area. The directional parking sign in this case is slightly wider and taller than what's allowed for in the sign program. And the sign program allows for the Commission to approve signs that exceed the dimensions provided for in the sign program for hotel signs. There are several findings required to approve the sign review application. The first is that the application conforms to the requirements of the sizing limitations in the municipal code. In this case, this application is exempt from those sizing limitations, again, as the Sierra Point sign program applies to that. The other 2 findings are that the sign complies with all applicable city ordinances and that the sign does not conflict with the building scale, colors, materials, architectural details, and styles found in the specific neighborhood or area. The application also meets these findings with conditions of approval. The asymmetrical blade sign
Time's up.
again.
All right.
The sign again would measure 4 feet at its tallest, 2 feet at its widest, and would be about 4 inches wide. This is moderately taller, wider, and deeper than the dimensions prescribed in the sign program. However, the overall scale would remain consistent with the signage requirements for Type E signs, as well as the sign design, which is consistent and complementary to the sign program that you guys approved 2 years ago for the monument sign at the primary entrance, as well as the wall-mounted signage. This application was transmitted to the Building, Public Works, and Fire Authority for comments, and no issues of concern were raised. And staff is recommending conditional approval, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. So you can see on your screen before you some renderings of the sign, including dimensions. Here's a photo simulation of its placement in the parking lot, exiting, and then this is the view entering the hotel premises. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Actually, no, I have no questions.
I had a question.
Okay.
I was just curious. I know I went to the fire department, but it was hard for me to see how close it was or far from the hydrant. And it was just, is there a safe zone for that, for the hydrant?
There may be. So yeah, the North County Fire Authority did review this application. They didn't identify any issues, and I think the hydrant access is well ahead of, forward from the
Right,
sign
that's
itself.
fine, so it doesn't- Yeah.
Also, if you look at the way it depicts the pictures here, it looks like it's shorter than it actually
Yeah,
is.
that's why.
It's
it
like
looked-
an angle.
Yeah, it looked a little bit closer than it probably is. Okay, no, that's all. Looks good, matches the, it complements the rest of the signage, so. Looks good to me.
Any other questions? No questions here. Are you the applicant or?
To open
Okay.
up the public hearing.
Yes, we're going to open up to public hearing, so if you can come. So could I have a motion to open up to public hearing?
Okay. I would make a
Would you-
motion to open a public hearing.
I'll second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Would the applicant like to come and address us? Come on up. We want to have a conversation.
Tell us why you like this sign.
It's all yours tonight.
It's a pretty simple sign. Nothing new. I think it's just the measurements.
Oh, could you state your name?
Oh, my name is Jed Cabana. I work for SJP Signs. And it's just a basic sign, non-illuminated sign. I think the only reason why we're here is because it's a little bit bigger than approved.
It's because of the shape, yeah.
Yeah.
But it works well. Well, you might know, so is there a certain distance from the fire hydrant? I was just curious.
Well,
That it needs to be, or?
as long as we're not digging into any utility lines, and we'll do that prior to installation, is we'll call for utility stakes to see if we are going to be hitting any of their lines, water lines, electrical, gas.
I think the concern here was that is it going to obstruct when there's a situation of fire, if the sign board will be in the way of
Yeah,
fighting. So
Doesn't seem like it.
is that their concern, right?
I was just curious. What
I think the
distance-
hoses go in directions away from the sign. That's what it looks like in the picture. I haven't been to the site, but
I was just thinking about the surrounding area, if they have to access it. But I was just curious if there was a certain distance. Oh, looks good.
Okay.
The only question I have is how come you didn't say I love Brisbane?
this is my first time doing this.
Oh, yeah.
You
Wrong-
came before
Wrong
us.
sweatshirt.
You came
Nothing to
before
be
us
nervous
with,
about.
I love SF, but what about Brisbane?
Hello, Brisbane.
There you go.
So make a sign.
Thanks for coming.
Says I love Brisbane.
Yeah.
I'll make the
That's
sweater.
one of the conditions.
I didn't say that. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, make a motion to
Motion to
close the
close.
public hearing.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So shall we deliberate?
Looks great.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Except I say within 30 days, the applicant must provide the new sign says, "I love Brisbane."
In jest, he's saying all in jest. So,
I'm just kidding.
can we have
I
a-
have no problem at all, no.
awesome.
I think
So
it's
can we have a
okay.
motion?
Okay, I'd make a motion again
To?
to approve the 5,000 Sierra Point Parkway sign reviews SR-7-16 to allow a new 7 square feet non-illuminated directional parking sign to be installed within the parking lot of the DoubleTree Hotel. Pretty Sethi says JP Sign Incorporated applicant, Summit Hospitality 114 LLC owner, and application number is 007-163-030.
I second all of that.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Okay.
so
So painless today.
I'm not used to this.
I know, we're
I'm
not.
tempted.
Okay, items initiated by the staff.
Yes, just a few quick items. So first off is that the council has on their agenda on the 15th of September, so coming up soon, to decide on a process for appointments on Planning Commission. So it's just a council discussion at this point. The Baylands will be going to City Council. It's scheduled for September 29th. And that'll be a overview, I understand, by Lloyd to kick that off with them. And then Parkside, and Julia, if you want to speak to that.
So as you may know, we had the council had a study session last Thursday to continue their discussion of the land use alternatives for the Parkside plan. It was a very productive meeting. I encourage you, if you didn't watch it live, to watch the video online. At that meeting, council members O'Connell and Davis presented a revised alternative that they had worked on based off of alternative A that MIG had created. So they presented that and had a discussion about their process. The council also had some discussion on preliminary kind of design input, which is going to inform the next phase of the process, which actually is to draft some design guidelines. Overall, the council seems to have, come to an agreement, at least, on the housing portion of the Parkside plan, which will be more or less as proposed by council members O'Connell and Davis. And the next phase really is at some point going to come before you all, where you might have some more, we'll be asking a little bit more about design input, and potentially some more visioning for the shopping center area and 125 Valley Drive, which the council had ideas on, but it was a little more visionary. So I think you guys will definitely get into that when it comes before you. And we're working with MIG right now just to get an updated schedule. Our schedule at this point is a couple months further than what it was initially. So as soon as we have an anticipated hearing date, we will let you guys know.
Thank you.
Also, I understand that they reduced the height, right, to no more than 5 stories. And that,
So council members Davis and O'Connell and the council in general seem to support a range of 2 to 3 stories
okay,
for the residential.
that's good. Okay, I found where I have to make the corrections, so if I can tell you. It's on page D 1.1.5, and it's on the 3rd paragraph where it says more analysis, geotechnical analysis was required. So I think you have to remove one analysis. Otherwise, as Mr. Reinhardt says, that we'll be doing a lot of analysis.
Right.
So, any other items initiated by the commission?
Yes, actually, I do have something.
Okay.
So we have heard a couple of applicants who have proposed and been approved for some really large plans. And if someone comes into Brisbane and they just want to build out to the far, which seems to be what a lot of people are doing, then you end up with some really, really big houses. And even though we have precedents for those really, really big houses now, I don't think that it really fits with the historic character of Brisbane. So what I was wondering is, if hypothetically we wanted to make a proposal to limit the maximum number of square footage allowed in a development in central Brisbane, what would be the steps for doing that? Would we agendize it and discuss it ourselves, or do we ask council to ask us to investigate it? Or, what would be the first step to find out if the commission or the council is amenable to discussing this?
I would suggest that we agendize it for the commission to discuss whether they want to put forth essentially it would go first as a memo to City Council, essentially asking them to direct Planning Commission to study it more in depth.
Should I make a motion to do that to see if there's...
Well, I think if there's general consensus that you would like to have that brought
Yeah,
forward.
What we can do is maybe in the next meeting we can put it on agenda, and at that time we can discuss and see what our feeling is, and based on that we can have the staff prepare a request for whatever the request is. But as I recall, we had discussed that in detail several times during the past several years regarding the sizes of the homes and all that. And I think the majority of the planning commissioners at that time thought that the way the process is okay now. We don't have to limit the size of the homes, except certain downtown areas where the lot size are small. But the bigger size, I think we came up with a floor area ratio and all those concepts and all that, and based on that was discussed. But I think there is a general feeling that it's getting out of hand. A lot of people are building bigger homes, and that seems to be the tendency now, because a lot of dot-commers have a lot of money. So maybe this might be a good time to revisit that. See what the council thinks about that.
Is that the wish of the commission
Well,
in general?
I
Like to
recall,
agendize?
yeah, I have a similar recollection that there were many issues related to just that overarching theme. And as per the ordinance now, unless there's a violation of some sort, it becomes a property rights issue as
Yeah.
well. So you have to balance that versus what can be defined as historical character of the city, right? So if we were to revisit that, that would mean taking into account the current state of the ordinance as it is, and then the property rights. And we really, I don't know, I hesitate to, and I'm uncomfortable with the idea of preempting people from exercising that right. So, I mean, we can talk about it, we can discuss it, but I'm not quite sure what the end goal would be, because I'm very hesitant to step across a certain line when it comes to individual rights.
I think we have to be consistent with what the other Bay Area cities are doing as an example, what their feeling is. And when we did that several years ago, we took into account what the neighboring cities and all that. And it really depends on the size of the lot. Mm-hmm. If you have a smaller size of the lot or zoning, then you don't have to worry about bigger homes and all that, because they are restricted with the size. But if you have a bigger home, like Brisbane acre, some of the sites are like 1 acre or more. And in that one, if you suggest that you should put a smaller house, there will be some objection there. I mean, you're talking about the...
I didn't want to suggest that we would discuss all of the
Yeah, but I'm
issues
just,
right now, just whether
Right,
we
right.
were
but the
amenable
thing
to
is, I'm
discussing
just, I'm
the
just
issues or not.
supporting what she's,
Yeah.
what the chairperson is talking about, and
Yeah, I understand.
so there are a lot of issues we can discuss. I think there's nothing, no harm done
So,
in
through-
putting
through
it
the
on the
chair.
agenda.
sorry, through the chair, yes, if you want to agendize it for that discussion as to whether essentially you would like to put something forward to the council, and even that wouldn't be an in-depth study, that would follow essentially council's direction to the planning commission if they shared that concern. So that agenda item would be essentially to, if there was a general consensus to raise that to the city council, what kind of concerns you might raise specifically in a memo to them.
Wouldn't that
I would suggest, though, that it may not, next meeting may be a pretty full meeting. I think we have quite a bit on the plate, so it might be something that we could talk with Director Swicki about and make sure we have a fairly open night. Not that this would take a long time, but I'm suspecting that the next meeting will be much longer than tonight's.
Wouldn't that be a case of zoning amendment? You know, because we do have to do the,
That is correct. It would be a zoning text amendment.
so,
I mean, in light of the Parkside plan, I think that it is a timely issue. So if it's something that we want to discuss as part of that, that would make sense to me as well. And so I don't have an issue with revisiting it. I was just delving into a recap before Commissioner Anderson came on board of what the issues were when we were discussing it prior to, is all.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and yeah, for the record, I support that discussion, absolutely. The few instances where applicants have come up, I've just expressed my disappointment in maximizing, the footprint, of their property, and of course, the land issue. As a landowner, who wants to be told what to do, and on that, but I think it's definitely a concern, and there could be historical issues, there could be safety issues, as far as water table, there's all kinds of sewage. So there's a lot of points that we could bring up and discuss. So I definitely support putting it on the agenda.
Okay.
well, you got the support from every one of us, it looks like, and
Okay.
so whenever
We'll bring that.
time permits, you can do that.
As convenient.
Sounds good.
okay. Any other issues raised by the commission? No? Okay. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, okay.
Unbelievable.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to the regular meeting of September 22nd.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
22 and a half minutes.
Wow. That is a record.
Yeah.